The reality of the supernatural, Michael Snyder reports. If you're trying very hard to ignore any evidence of the supernatural, you're probably not going to like this. Our society has trained us to view literally everything through the lens of Darwinism. Therefore, any supernatural events that may happen are to be regarded with extreme skepticism or rare or are to be ignored entirely. In other words, if there is not a perfectly acceptable natural explanation, it did not happen. Those that reject the supernatural are thought to be reasonable, while those that openly talk about supernatural things are thought to be unreasonable. But the truth is that supernatural events really are happening all around us all the time. We just need to open our eyes and acknowledge them. And I would comment here, we have miracles every day, we just don't notice them. Now, right now, the story about a woman that was raised from the dead at a hospital in Kansas is being shared on several prominent Christian news websites. A medical doctor is testifying that a woman was raised from the dead by the power of prayer hours after emergency room staff had done everything they could to revive her. Dr. Landon D. Vinson, MD, an emergency room doctor at the Coffeyville Regional Medical Center in Coffeyville, Kansas, recently told members of the First Assembly of God about the miracle he witnessed along with their pastor, Reverend Randy DePriest. In a video posted on YouTube, Vincent gives his testimony to the congregation. It was during the spring of 2021, at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, when an unnamed woman was taken to the emergency room in Coffeyville. She was receiving CPR when she was brought into the emergency room and was given CPR for an entire hour after arriving, but she died. She was dead. In fact, she was dead for quite a while. But then a pastor arrived and the prayers began. Before too long, she had been brought back to life. Quote, we began to pray over her, and quote, the doctor recalled, my head was bowed. There was a nurse in the room. Maybe just a couple of minutes into the prayer, a machine began sounding an alarm. I thought I would just turn it off so it would not be distracting. When I looked up, spontaneous breathing began coming back. I saw a hand moving on this woman. As the pastor prayed over her, he began to ask her questions. She started nodding her head and responding. He called her by name and said, this is Pastor Randy and I've come to pray for you. Her eyes opened and he asked, can you hear me okay? She nodded yes. This kind of thing actually happens a lot. One of my favorite testimonies comes from a former law enforcement officer in Virginia named Marty Breeden. On July 17, 2015, while being attended at a hospital, I went into acute respiratory failure. I stopped breathing on my own and went code blue. I could go code blue yet again within 48 hours. I had an emergency tracheostomy in an attempt to save my life. My heart went into atrial flutter. 3 weeks on respirator to sustain my life. I had to learn how to walk again, talk again, and swallow again. It was a long recovery. At the time I was tired and weary. My life had drifted far from God, the God of my youth. No one else worthy than me, no one less worthy than me, and the Lord could have let me perish in that state. But God, as most of you know, I was immediately ushered into the presence of God. His voice was the echo of the ages, said, my church does not really believe that I'm coming back soon. I was given this message and more from the Lord and was sent back and told to tell those things which you have heard. I've tried to be faithful to do just that. There are all of these people just imagining that they died and came back to life. Are they all imagining this? Of course not. But the mainstream media will never feature such stories because they are strong evidence that God of the Bible is real. In other cases, supernatural events point to the reality of the forces of darkness. Earlier today, I came across a video that supposedly shows a man in Minnesota being attacked by an unknown demonic entity while he was asleep. I don't know where the video originated, but I do know that the forces of darkness are very real, and they are becoming increasingly active all over America. In fact, yet another public school approved the creation of an after-school Satan club. High School Satan Club will now be including included among the extracurricular offerings at Olathe Northwest High School in Kansas after the school district gave the green light for its creation. The club's approval comes amid growing opposition from other students and parents with concerns about kids being encouraged to worship Satan. Of course, your kids don't have to actually attend such a club in order to be exposed to occult material. All they have to do is sit down and turn on Netflix or other things on the television. Over in China, they're trying to raise an entire generation that does not know anything about God at all. Chinese children have been banned from attending religious services since 2017, and government agents actually monitor church services to make sure that this is enforced. Chinese children have been barred from attending religious services and engaging in religious activities since 2017. Before Xi Jinping came to power, children during the era of former President Hu Jintao were allowed to attend Sunday school. Now, under Xi Jinping, many parents of kindergartners and middle schoolers must sign and submit a pledge to not believe in religion to their children's school teachers. Government staff monitors to make sure no child enters places of worship. Protests by parents who say they cannot leave their children home alone go unheard. To bypass these restrictions, many churches secretly host Sunday school in members' homes. We really are living in the end times. Even though there is so much evidence for the Christian faith all around us, the world hates Christianity, is trying to stamp it out in thousands of different ways. But no matter how hard they try, we'll never be able to defeat us because the truth always wins in the end. And this is by Michael Snyder. He says about the author, my name is Michael, and my brand new book entitled Chaos is now available in paperback and for Kindle on Amazon. In addition to my new book, I've written 7 other books available on Amazon, including 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophecies of the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, Living a Life That Really Matters, Commissions Earned. When you purchase any of these books, you help to support the work that I'm doing, and one way that you can really help is by sending copies as gifts to family and friends. Time is short, and I need help getting these warnings into the hands of as many people as possible. I've also started a brand new Substack newsletter, and I encourage you to subscribe so you won't miss any of my articles. I've published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the Most Important News. And the articles that I publish on those sites are republished on dozens of other prominent websites all over the globe. I always freely and happily allow others to republish my articles on their own websites, but I also ask that they include this about the author section with each article. The material contained in this article is for general information purposes only, and readers should consult licensed professionals before making any legal, business, financial, or health decisions. I encourage you to follow me on social media, Facebook and Twitter. And any way that you can share these articles with others is definitely a great help. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, I strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. And this is by Michael Snyder on End of the American Dream. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support, and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.